That's an interesting one. So there's definitely a shift that we're seeing, and in our company we actually see that. So our CIO is no longer called a CIO, it's called a CDO, Chief Digital Officer. However, the focus is still on technical side of things. And I think that the biggest role that they can have in terms of what they do is to help us put together a real strategy around how all that technology is really going to support a customer engagement strategy. So the CDO or the CIO needs absolutely to be working hand in hand with the commercial part of the business, and in fact probably any part of the business, because if we're just thinking about it from a commercial perspective, not looking at it from an R&D or manufacturing perspective, then we're probably missing something. So the new role of the CIO is to really engage at the enterprise level and saying, what is the best technology approach, technology strategy I can have to support what we're trying to do as an enterprise, whether it be commercial or research and development and so on. And they also have a big responsibility in terms of this customer data we're talking about, and data in general, and saying, how can we actually turn that data into insights? How can we actually start to integrate it, get insights out of it? How can we start getting data that comes from outside? So external sources, maybe Facebook, Google, etc. Throw it into a data lake, whatever you want to do. But how do we actually start getting much more insights in data? How do I make it more accessible? How do we make it more insightful?
I wish we had a CIO in Eyeforpharma, but because it's great to have a person who can sort of tie the different kinds of teams together. So in commercial, we work with technical projects. They do in medical affairs, they do in IT and R&D and so on. So having a person who can coordinate all of us would be nice, so that we can go through towards that same goal. Talking about having one view of the customer, for example, is something such a person could drive across silos in the companies.
I think there's a big difference, of course, between software and IT, and maybe that's where it goes wrong sometimes in the companies. And if you invest in one area, you need to invest in the other as well. So you need the infrastructure in place, down to very practical things like what type of access does a rep or an MSL have to information, how easily can they sort of tap in to the data warehouse, how easily can they get data back out, and that's down to firewalls and internet access and speed and those very basic things. But if you are a rep and you sit in a car and it takes half a minute to load every page, it really has a big impact on your daily work. So it's really about getting both sort of the software but also the infrastructure to work together.
The CIO plays a big role. The CIO is the person who needs to help us understand and centralize these platforms, so we have one place to store our data. We have one potentially data supplier. We understand how to get different interfaces and connections between each other. Ideally, the CIO partners very closely with the business to achieve the ultimate goal of really best serving our customers while best serving the company as well. Make sure he has a lot of CapEx budget aside to help support our digital initiatives. And this is really a great working relationship we have with our current CIO, who actually makes sure that when he's doing his LRP planning, long range planning, we're doing that in parallel with the business to understand where we're trying to drive as an organization and make sure both parties can support each other. So it's really opening lines of communication and understanding of business needs, but also understanding from IT structure what are the actual capabilities and roadmaps as well.
They play a critical role. In all my experience in commercial excellence, I've always partnered with IT. Without them, nothing works smoothly. They need to find the right solutions for us and make sure that they then also work for the customer. There's nothing worse than us using a piece of technology, trying to connect with a HCP virtually, and that requires the customer to actually do half an hour's work before they actually log on and actually connect with us. So I think it's a partner made in heaven if it works.